Uh, Still got some room, so still do some recording. This is gonna be a pain in the butt, but hooked into technology like crazy. If it's not that, no. My question is, why am I up this morning? Okay, it is the eve of the Christmas about to commence on us. Yes, the annual holiday that everyone takes the day off, or for those who celebrate the religion, and also by business who does it, and government, at least in the United States anyway. I don't know anywhere else that takes the days off, unless you want to be Scrooge and decide that it's all a bunch of humbug. It is 1:27 in the morning West Coast time. It is December 24th, 2024 for a Tuesday. The Weaver John C. of Roseman, California wishes you a Merry Christmas and a Merry Treckmas. I can't say much for my dog. She's stressing again this morning. Anybody a caregiver to a senior dog, you know, sometimes these dogs are very fussy, and she is right now. At the most precarious times. And I'm not quite sure how to deal with a pause on this one, except just to take the headphones off and go see what my dog wants. What in Samuel is your major malfunction, dog? You need to sleep and I need to go to work. She is not happy, but I am not in there with her 24/7. And when she's sleeping, bit of a respite. So we made it, guys. We made it to Christmas Eve. Have you done shopping yet? Well, they're still online. There's still Amazon out there, if they're still functioning, and there's still Walmart and a few other stores. If their delivery system is going to be accurate and fast enough. And then they got to coordinate with the North Pole, if I'm not mistaken. But unfortunately, Nick's already taken off already hours ago. So he's in flight. I don't know how they're going to get the package up to him in the first place. But there's always ground. And we'll get our packages delivered to each other. Or that one. I didn't think I'd be making it up to this particular point. I mean, Christmas Eve I could celebrate, but when it comes down for the Christmas Day, yeah. A lot of things happening all over the world that are disturbing, rattling, life and death defying, freedom defying, and we have conniption fits all around. We just simply can't turn them off or on as we would with a controller. Could we? It's hard to do that, isn't it? Turn the events on and off with just a flick of a switch. But in a holiday sense, we're supposed to and just try to wish each other a Merry Christmas, unless we're of a different faith, religious, uh, whatever we're going through, whatever we're believing in. Maybe we don't believe in Christmas. Always wish them a happy holiday because it could be a holiday they're going through. Or maybe they're not. I wish them a good day and move on. Not for the rest of us. We're still trying to get through the Christmas fete. We're trying to think maybe we are Scrooge. We are Ebenezer all around. We're doing this for the business. We're doing this for whatever sake it is. We want the money. We try to be family people. We really do. But are we? As I've been trying to indicate on my videos on my channel, that the holiday season is just not about one man or just one faith about a man. It's about an entity. It's about a conglomeration. It is about togetherness. All those pictures that we've been seeing in our holy texts, not to mention the artistic impressions of how we're supposed to be, and all the smiling faces that we grew up with, or sometimes grimacing through. We're supposed to be remembering the good times, but for some people, it doesn't happen as much. And all they feel is the emptiness and loss and the empty chair. Speaking of which, I have an empty chair. I have an empty chair for the holidays. Normally I can do this on a video, no problem at all. I get a little stir crazy when it comes down for the live feed. I can talk for a long period of time on the video when I'm doing those, just to demonstrate. I actually do have the power of speech, and actually I can communicate thoughts, patterns, and everything else to people left and right. But what I can't communicate with them is how to interpret how they're feeling right now about this holiday season, about how they're supposed to be looking at it. The word, supposed to. Social customs and norms are behaviors of what we're supposed to do, what we're supposed to feel, what we're supposed to be, what. And the problem is we're just following our programming of the zeros and ones. We complain about artificial intelligence, don't we? Artificial intelligence doesn't know except what we program it to be. And we can look at ourselves in the same way. The holiday functions and the forms that we have. We can get creative in our decorating. We can show people how much we like the holiday by putting up the lights and putting up the stockings and the whatnots, wear their crazy vests and the shirts. We can sing the tunes. We can be of custom. We can be of what society norms are supposed to be. But when you're feeling outside of it, that's the thing, isn't it? How are you supposed to feel it? And quite frankly, sometimes I wonder about it. Oh, the lights are nice, dazzling, and blinking rapidly. It'll drive people crazy. Can't figure it out that a solid, steady state is better than blinking lights. And if we do that, we're going to be driving ourselves crazy and mesmerized by it. We can complain. I mean, we can really complain about things and think that we are better, know better, and think we are better than anything and everybody else. Probably think I'm talking out of my head. Probably. Stay out of politics for this one. I'm talking about personal observations. I'm talking about thoughts outside the usual norms. And yes, I always been worried how I'm going to be celebrating a holiday, especially when I am full of a lot of past memories that are acting worse than ball and chain around our feet, or if we're going to get literal about it, all the birds hanging around our neck. I'm not talking about pheasants or anything else like that. No, there was a bird in the story of the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. That this one mariner in this poem of Coleridge's, he shot a bird. And he just shot it, just plain out shot him. On a sea voyage, this crew was, this ship was, and thought the bird was lucky, or maybe the bird was unlucky. But just out of pure callousness, the arrow slung and hits the poor bird. And then the subsequent events happening afterwards puts this mariner on an eternal redemption. Grieved he may be, he still has to tell the story for as long as we keep remembering the story about this one. Forgiveness, redemption. The meanings of this holiday is supposed to be in the Christian theme is we have someone born supposed to redeem us, and then a few months later we celebrate the passing of this one. And it was called Christ. So we revere the message, we revere the baby, but I kept saying to myself, if I'm getting older and harder to realize how many people I lost in my lifetime. People, family, group, gathering. Did we all forget them? In one moment in time and space, people came together to celebrate. Much like we have other people trying to celebrate new birth. Doesn't matter who and what their names are, where they're coming from. They're supposed to be hanging around this one, just oohing and nodding and saying, yay, they made it to life. Now let's see how they deal with life on life's terms. So 3 wise men, according to the story, tracked the desert into the town of Bethlehem, watching a star leading them to this area, doing celestial navigation. And they see a woman with a child right next to him. The child's wrapped up, hopefully. And the mother and father watching over the kid. And a barn and a manger full of animals watching. And a few shepherds who came by because they also saw the star in the sky, the celestial object. And they were saying that this star had led them over here because there was something special. Everybody's going to be focusing attention on the baby. But did we ever focus on the gathering of the people around it? 3 guys, 3 strangers following the same star and a caravan of their own. From different lands they came from, bearing gifts. Their own soothsayers have predicted it. So they tracked the desert into the town of Bethlehem, to the manger. They feel the moment that is supposed to be miraculous. I'm looking at the supporting characters in this whole human drama here. Do we not care enough about the mother and father? We're just going to push them aside. It's supposed to be for the kid going to grow up, save the world, huh? Well, it's like mama and daddy don't matter anymore, and yet we got to put faith and trust in that one. We got to put what the commandments say that we have to you know, love our mother and love our father, love God above everything else. But we also love the mother and father. Why? One thing they never put in there was family in those commandments. We would consider family like bloodline. A family is more than just bloodline, it's also a gathering. People that actually care, or maybe for an instant, sharing an instant such event that changes everything for them. At wartime, we have soldiers banding together and trying to save each other's ass while they're trying to kill the enemy. And the enemy is doing the same thing, trying to band, banding themselves, but into a family unit where they're trying to combat the other, back and forth. I didn't see the Roman army acting that way, just conquering bullies, but nobody caring about each other. They all have to worship this one idiot out in city of Rome. Guy thinks he had all the power because of the institution that he's part of. And now you got this kid out in Judea, the town of Bethlehem, threatening him. He's listening to his followers, and he's going to go crazy over this one. Jump about, I don't know, hundreds or maybe 1,000 years or maybe 100 years, where you actually had a guy growing up in the palace of the Egyptians, saved, salvaged, raised as a prince, and then discover he's a dirty, rotten traitor, but he's out there to save his people. How many times we were watching the movie of Ten Commandments around Easter time over that one. This is different. We're dealing with a situation, we're dealing with an idea, an ideology, we're dealing with a theme that this is supposed to be the beginning of something that was supposed to be helping us out, of how our behavior is supposed to be monitored and judged and acted accordingly. Well, we're not, are we? We're not. People are looking at different things and thinking we're in for it. Well, maybe we are in for it. I know a lot of people are wondering whether or not we're going into Revelation or something like that because we got all these disasters happening. We have other naysayers saying it's not happening. Well, let's see, we got volcanism happening out in Hawaii and still in Iceland. We've got earthquakes happening out in the Pacific Rim of Fire. Maybe the Earth is having a stretch break. Who knows? We're also having devastating storms. We got winter freezing people out. We got areas flooding people out. And all along, they're going to be singing Merry Christmas because we got everything else happening here. We haven't got nothing else to lose. Except taking off our heads and running around over here, acting as if we're panicking over everything. Basically, we are. But a message of peace? Did we ever actually do that? We want indoctrination in our schools. We made laws of not doing that. We wanted to separate out here in the United States that we wanted to keep religion and government separate. I mean, you can do your religion, you can celebrate your religion, no problem. Just don't shove it in people's throat down, in a public places like in the courthouses or schools, telling people you got to behave because we say so. Well, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas, and we're going to indoctrinate you, despite the fact you may be of a different religion or anything else. But we have to indoctrinate you because we're programmed for that. And don't you harbor any ill will about it because we don't like it. And normally I talk about this stuff in my videos left and right about it. Hardly ever gets touched. Things happen. I should be back in bed sleeping, waking up in a few hours from now, and hopefully waking up to a world that's not trying to kill itself, not trying to ram cars through people and thinking that's all right. Yelling and screaming at each other on social media left and right and thinking that's all right. Feeling like we've got traitors among us, so that's got to be all right. And we're supposed to think that in the social norms and accepted stuff that our version of Christianity is above everything else, so therefore we got to push it down people's throats as the agenda. Because we say so. If I'm going to be celebrating a holiday in one way or another, I got to look at it from a perspective that's not being force fed or shoved down my throat left and right. I see the stuff I have on right now as it is. I have a sweater on because it may be cold, but it's not that cold outside. Not that cold in here either. I have the trappings lit up. It is supposed to signify of a holiday. But what if I say no? Does it make me an atheist? No. Actually, I'm getting too warm in this vest, so I need to take it off. The dirt and the grunge. Nothing. This is like taking off the top portion of it and saying to the holiday season, look, this is who and what I am. Not the tapestries, not the pretense, not the this matters most. I need to put the acting on, the theatrical. I need to show people that this is what everybody wants because we need to have it because we have all hell breaking loose right now. Excuse me 1 second. We got people telling each other how we're supposed to worship, how we're supposed to feel, how we're supposed to think, and yet, if we're able to do that, we're forcing ourselves down people's throats left and right. And they call it's supposed to be the Word of God that way. No, not really. Because every one of us, if we're still following the faith, if we're still following of the Christian faith, we always know we always had a choice. We always know we had a decision. We were taught, but we didn't experience. We didn't experience what it was supposed to have been like. We only experienced what we remember in our childhood, and we think that was supposed to be it, but there was a lot more to it than that, than what was being told to me about it. And some things I had to learn about it. It's not just about one man or someone else's ideology or ideologue. For me, it was about family. It was about family. The thing that you form or part of it of either bloodline or non-bloodline. of the people that surrounded you at that moment, celebrating an event that's transforming for a lot of people, or just a continuing acknowledgement of how important it is. Well, we don't treat it as important, do we? It's not buying the travesty and pretending that it's happening. I mean, we try to. But do we really feel the holiday spirit? Do we really feel the generosity, especially when we're robbing people left and right and shooting or killing them just to get a few scraps of things from the other person? We're told that if you're a Christian, you're supposed to be following the parables that we've learned about the Sermon on the Mount. Christ had a way of talking in metaphors, but sometimes it's the only way they can understand it because they didn't have any other way to understand it. I mean, we try to teach it, but we don't teach it. We don't feel it. I look at the manger, I look at an empty manger. I don't look what was surrounding it. They use it as an analogy. It's been used in a Twilight Zone episode, actually. Rod Serling would have a field day with it. Well, it was never just about the manger. We're supposed to have been called children of God, and yet we don't act like children of God. We act like fools and idiots. I know, because I know I'm calling myself one all the damn time. I call myself a fool and idiot all the damn time. Because I don't feel what everybody else wants me to feel. I don't think in the ways that they want me to think in. And I'm looking at different things in a different way that I may take off people that they just bypass it altogether. I look at the manger themes. I look at the manger that we have, the little sets that we put out. But they're all surrounding the manger. But what is it about that group surrounding the manger? What is it that we're growing up with that we still can't relate with sometimes because we're arguing with them on a constant basis? How many times has your family yelled at you and not feeling the holiday spirit or feeling the holiday theme itself? How many times have you argued about it? What's it to you? Why am I doing this? Why is it so damn important? It's just another holiday. Leave me alone. If we want to look at it in a literal sense, you're doing the Ebenezer Scrooge. Problem is, Scrooge already had his issues in the story that Charles Dickens wrote out. You follow the storyline. Yeah, he grew up in a timeline where people actually did put their kids away in schools because they didn't want to deal with them. Foster care ring a bell. Boarding schools ring a bell. Oh, you can deal with them on the holiday seasons if you can, but how about the 24/7 on it? Squeak would be my mother, my dog. Hey, stretch case. Hey, I'm right here. Mama, I'm right here. She's having issues this morning. We keep saying to ourselves that family's important. We keep saying that we sacrifice for the family. Do we? Do we honest to God sacrifice for the family? I don't know. Because I hadn't seen it. All I've heard is people complaining about this, people complaining about this, and driving themselves nuts. Oh, give me 1 second. Perhaps I should have done a videotape instead. At least I could have hit the pause on it. I got for loop ads. When you're a dog owner and you're dealing with dogs with weak bladders, sometimes you need all that protection that you can. This season I've been trying to examine my thoughts and my feelings about the holiday season, whether or not it meant something or not. I mean, I kept asking myself, why am I feeling this low? Why am I challenging it? Why is it so damn important that I have to keep pushing myself on this one? Because the one element that was always missing, and when I finally realized what it was, it clicked. We looked at the major, we looked at the pictures, but we also looked at something. We looked at a family there, not just bloodline, but a connection from one being to another. Doesn't matter if it was animal or human, didn't matter. In one essence, we were connected to it. Much like, I was trying to remember the bird's name, albatross. Much like the albatross that was shot in the poem of Coleridge, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. In a way, the life is still part of us. And taking away that element by being callous about it would take away what this holiday season is supposed to mean to us. It's not the collection of stuff. It's what we give of ourselves. We remember the good times when we're getting presents from people left and right we didn't know. We're a lot younger. Or maybe not all in circumstances. We tried to be with others who are feeling the same way. We tried to feel like a communal spirit, just to feel part of the holidays thing. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. My situation over here, I kept remembering. It's not the stuff I was trying to get, it's what I was trying to do during the holiday season. If I was giving of myself, if I was giving of my time, if I was trying to be sharing and charitable at this point over here, I was trying to demonstrate something that the holiday spirit meant to me. Is I have to share it with others. I have to be part of the communal spirit. I have to be connecting with family of sorts. And that is in a season like this, it's not just the birth of a savior. It's what the family is doing, is being and being represented. There was a family created. And being part of that creation, I felt something. It took me a hell of a long while trying to remember this thing and trying to figure this thing out. Why do we go to church? Why do we sing in groups? Why are we in communal groups trying to share with each other? We're connecting to each other. We are family members connecting to each other. It doesn't mean that we're bloodline. No, we are connected. We are part of it. And yet we do argue with ourselves. We do argue with each other, but we're still part of them. They matter. We matter. Doesn't matter what kind of differences we have. We matter to each other. This holiday season is, besides the religious aspect of it, it's the communal one. It's connecting to each other. It's not the Thanksgiving national holiday of the United States. No. No. Because we had somebody who was going to be growing up to teach us lessons about ourselves and how to deal with each other. And we keep screwing that up left and right with a hell of a lot of anger and hatred and vitriol. Well, we want to make sure that we have people programmed to be the way we think they should be. No. It's what they think and hear, but also what they feel and hear, what they can connect with. And every time I keep seeing this Christmas holiday, it was never like the ones back when they were trying to get us started because we didn't have the traditions back then. It was a word of mouth of one guy being born, his lessons he was teaching to people, and then he passes away, leaving the followers to reinterpret and repeat. And we form our own traditions throughout the ages. Story of a peddler with a bag on his back, going from town to town, distributing his wares to the kids of heart. And it had to be corresponding down the road where it matches up with the Christmas holiday. Not nationalized. We had governments and kings trying to reestablish the dates until they finally made it on the Gregorian calendar of December 25th. Doesn't matter if it falls on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. It doesn't matter. As long as the date is the 25th of December, it shall be Christmas, and this is what we shall celebrate as officially. How about everything else in between? I mean, every time I kept reading the Bible at this point, concerning about how it's supposed to be celebrated, nothing is said in the Bible about how it's supposed to celebrate, because they never had a Christmas holiday in the Bible. Nowhere. Oh, we'll talk about the birth. We'll talk about the man who was about. We'll talk about the sermon lessons all the time about how we're supposed to be. But nowhere in there did he say anything about family, though. I discovered that about ourselves, but we're called the children of God. Well, for children of God, we're family, aren't we? Are we? Are we family? I don't know about that anymore. I don't. I know the religious aspect. I know the theologians, those in the clergy are try to give warmth and cheer about this day. Trying to make us try to get into the spirit of the thing, and then we're finding out it's harder and harder to deal with because we are so anti us. We're anti people left and right. We're anti whatever it is that we turn this thing into a lapping stock. This isn't a contest. This isn't a game. This is decisions made of whether or not we honor family or we don't. Honestly, it's not the commercialism that drives me crazy. It's not the gifts. It's how we treat each other. Because right now, we're not treating each other very well. Not as human beings, not as something as we were taught or being taught at. No. We're not treating each other as individuals or human beings or as family members. We remember with child person on a child level how we think it was supposed to be and we want that to be. But we look at it now. It's never going to be that way for us adults. We want to wander as we had as a child, but we're too damn mature for it. We're too damn old. It's no wonder the idea of the Grinch and Scrooge are more prevalent these days. It's more prevalent. And it sucks. Was it prevalent on one faithful day The European battlefield in World War I, where two sides decided on Christmas Day they weren't going to fight. They were going to use to celebrate life, and they want to turn dusk. I went back at it again. But at least for a brief moment, they connected. They connected. We can't even do that to ourselves, can we? I'll continue further into vids. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. At least I haven't died. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. Are we?